So another question that I have over here is about the sidewalls and the loading index. Now, these are two different. You could put these in two different questions. I'm going to let Andre explain the difference between the plies and the sidewall and why the loading index is incredibly important. Now, bear in mind, the loading index has got to do with your entire vehicle and the weight that it's going to carry and the distribution. So I'm going to let Andre carry on and explain the differences between the two questions.
Okay, Anton. You know, the first thing that will come up when a guy in a 4x4 tire wants a fitted tire said, what is your ply rating? How much is the 3-ply rating, is the 1-ply or 2-ply rating tire and stuff like that. Fortunately for Cooper tires, all our ST Maxes, all our STT Pros are all 3-ply sidewall tires.
Okay.
But you know, to me, that is always not the most important thing of the tire, and I'll get back to it later because there's a loading index that you must actually look at too.
Okay.
The ply rating is just to make it stronger. It makes it better for any penetrations and stuff like that. So that's why you've got the 3-ply sidewall tire. But what's the need when you get the 3-ply sidewall tire and you've got a low loading index? Because you must look at the whole combination. What are your vehicle wearing? Or, you know, what is the weight that it's actually got on and stuff like that. So if you've got a tire, and let's mention a 285, 75, 60, you've got a tire. The Cooper's got a 126 stroke 123.
Yeah.
And then you get a opposition tire that the same size, and the Cooper and that tire is a 119, 116. There's a difference of about 450 kilograms per tire.
That's a lot.
That per one tire. So if you're a big overlander, so you put this combination on. If you look at the whole vehicle, it's about 1.8 tons less that you can carry and stuff like that. So tell me, what is a 3-ply sidewall then going to be make it stronger? Because it's going about the whole combination of tire. That's what I normally believe in. You must look at the tire and compare apples with apples. So yeah, 3-ply sidewall is there, and it's for a reason there. So it makes it better if you go into rough areas, rough terrains. Penetrations will be less because of a stronger sidewall and things like that. But if you've got a tire that hasn't got a high load index, what will happen to it? They will bubble more out, so the penetration will be easier to come through onto that tire.
Okay, yeah, that is quite a big deal. Now, also mentioning 450 kilos of tire is quite a bit. And I find that I've seen a number of people overloading their vehicles just because they have space. They have to fill it up, and that's obviously something that you want to stay away from, especially if you're going on a lower grade of tire. You can't expect a tire to perform according to the vehicle engine just because of what they've chosen, and that's a big problem. So when you're talking about numbers, I took the 235s because I wanted more of a biscuit, simpler version instead of a bigger. Of a wider tire on the road, and I found that what I've chosen is absolutely perfect. I've had no issues whatsoever with what I've chosen, and it seems to have worked well. Is there a difference in, for example, road noise between a narrow and a wider tire when it comes to Cooper?
You know, there will always be, I think, a type of more noise levels, because you've got a bigger footprint that goes on the road and stuff like that. That's what it's all about.
Okay.
So yeah, it will be. You must compensate if you go more aggressive. You must compensate for the tire, because the more aggressiveness is, the bigger blocks is going to be there. So it's going to give you a much more a road noise on the tire and stuff like that.
Okay.
Can I just show something here on the side of the tire, talking about the loading index? Sometimes a guy outside there, they will buy a new 4x4. He wants to put mud terrain tires on. Firstly, he must make sure that it's a light truck construction.
Yes.
Because a light truck construction is very, very important to a tire. That there, that is what we call the loading index. In this case, is a 120/116. So this is very important what you've got there. So you need to look at that to compare apples with apples. You might get a 235, 85, 16 that the load index will be a 117 or 115. It can't take that much weight. Especially when you come to people that are doing a hell of a lot of overlanding. They put tires on. They drive these tires at 0.8, 0.6 bar for 5-6 days on a time. That is not recommended by the tire manufacturers, but we know the operation they're running in.
Yeah.
That's how they need to operate and stuff like that. So if you're going to take a tire that the loading index is not high enough, then it's going to build up more heat, and then you'll start getting problems with the tires at the end of the day. Apart from, it can become dangerous because the whole vehicle will weigh, say, 4 tons, 4.5 tons,
Yeah.
and you're driving a tire that isn't up to standard to carry that load. Apart from yourself, you're putting the people with you in the vehicle, you're putting under a lot of danger.
Okay, so when you say light truck, it actually says on the rim, it actually says light truck. If you have a look at
It
that
will
over there.
say there, Cooper tires will say LT. LT stands for light truck. And people mustn't think it's a truck tire. It's a light truck, it's a construction. So it's a construction that's about 40% stronger than normal SUV tire. If you look at a normal tire, say you get a 265, 65, 70, that's a very good example because you get the normal SUV tire. The loading index in that SUV tire is normally a 112T.
Okay.
While your light truck construction is a 121. So there's a huge difference in carrying capacity.
Yeah.
And apart from that, it's so much stronger when you do 4x4, while the SUV is a very soft sidewall, and penetrations when you do 4x4 is much easier on a SUV construction than in a light truck construction. You must ask for a light truck tire. You must ask the guy, give me a light truck tire.
Yeah,
I want to do 4x4. The thing is, a lot of people are just selling tires because tires are tires. But the real 4x4 guy will ask you some questions and say to you, listen, I need a tire that's got a strong sidewall. I need a tire that can carry the weight that I'm carrying. I'm having a trailer at the back. I'm having a lot to carry around. So get the right information. Do your homework.
Yeah.
Do research. There's internet. Do research and see what you actually want. Because at the end of the day, it's not just going about putting on a tire.
Yeah.
But it's going to be saving lives inside the vehicle if something happens.
Okay, so on this tire, is there anything else that you want to show? I know that you said to me earlier you were looking at the date that this tire was made, and I think that's something that not many people ask about. You know, buying a tire from a dealership doesn't mean that it came a month before. It could be sitting there for a while, and they want to get rid of old stock. You don't know that, so you want to be careful. Now, on this tire, there's a lot of detail. Some of it is it shows safety warnings, the name, the brand, all that type of stuff. But there's a lot of things. I see there's DOT numbers. DOT means Department of Transport. And there's a number of things on here that might not be relevant, but also could be really relevant to you. And the one thing that came up you showed me was 1315, which is something, let me just show you quickly, which is that over there. So, you know, if you look at that on its own, what did you mention that date was? Sorry, that means?
Okay, if you look at 1315, that means this tire was manufactured in the 13th week of 2015.
Okay.
Now, all tires got a 5-year warranty on all their tires.
Right.
Cooper's got 6 years.
Okay.
This is very important because you need to ask, when you buy the tire, you need to ask the guy and say, listen, can I see your date code? Because who knows, he bought their tires maybe 2 or 3 years ago, it's been lying in his rack, he wants to get rid of it.
Correct.
So you can have always new tires on there. Because if there's a problem coming up with that tire and you go over that date, your whole warranty on this tire
It's gone.
is gone. So it becomes a problem. And a lot of people don't know. I call it it's what you call a dump code, date of manufacturing. And also people, I want to see the dump code in these tires.
Yeah.
So that you know what you're getting on. Because the problem what's going to happen on that, if something happens to that tires, it runs out of the manufacturing date. The dealership will say, listen, sir, sorry, it's been overaged, we can't have a look at it.
That's
The
right.
next, what's going to happen, you're going to call the tire manufacturer, the tire manufacturer is going to tell the whole story. So it's going to become an unpleasant story,
Correct.
unpleasant thing. And I think it's quite dangerous when you're driving a tire that's overaged,
Yeah.
a tire that has been on the racks for lying there for 2 or 3 years,
Yeah.
because you know what, they want to get rid of their tires and stuff like that. So again, go to a reputable tire dealer
Yeah.
that knows what's going on in 4x4. Don't just go about price, but go about what you get.
Correct.
Because you will get what you pay. That's all about.
I did that whole service and that whole query, and I was actually going to get the KO2s, and then I met Andre, and he explained a lot of the stuff to me that made sense. But mostly the amount of time that I'm on the road and the type of vehicle that I have, I took a lot of care into the questions around that. So another So another thing now, while we're here, maintenance of the tire. You did mention that change the tires or check them every or rotate them every 8,000 kilometers. Is there anything else that can be done? I happen to check my tires when I let air out. I check my tire inside, outside of the rim. You know, just looking for random stones, random things that could be wrong. Is there anything else other than that people can actually have a look at?
You know, tire, I think it's a thing that keeps your car on the road.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. So it's very important that you look after this tire. And you know what? I look after my tires on a daily basis. And do pressures when it's cold pressures, not when it's hot pressures, because then it will give you the real pressure on the vehicle and stuff like that. Look for stones inside. Take it out if you can take it out, because you can get what they call stone drilling.
All right.
And that, you know what's happened, this thing will start drilling in there. Maybe you just touch a wire inside there that's a belt.
Yeah.
And it will start causing corrosion of the tire, and 3-4 months along the way you'll get a separation or you get a problem with your tire. Look at your sidewalls all the time. See if there are not cracks in the sidewall. See if there are not cuts in the sidewall that can actually cause damage later on to the vehicle when things goes wrong. Pressure on a tire is the most important thing, because when your pressures aren't right, what's going to happen? It's going to cause heat buildup in the tire, and heat is maybe the biggest enemy of any tire. So the more the heat buildup, the more dangerous this tire actually becomes and stuff like that. So have a look at this tire, have a look at everything on this tire all the time. If there's a cut, if you're running under pressure, just have a look at some guys when they put on a 3-ply sidewall tire like this, because it gives you a harder drive than a normal SUV tire. They're trying to compensate by actually deflating their tire, give them a comfortable ride.
Yeah.
That's not always right.
I agree.
Because you know what's happening? It's going to build up a hell of a lot of heat, and you're going to cause yourself some problems. Maybe you won't see the problem outside.
Yeah, correct.
But take the tire off, and you see there's some cracks in the inside, and people say, this is a bad tire. It's not a bad tire.
Yeah.
You've been driven this tire, maybe underinflated for a long time.
Yeah.
When you go off-roading, and when you come off the track where you're driving, and you come onto the tire, inflate your tires. Don't drive it to the nearest petrol station where you can inflate, because you will start causing damage. You've got a tire that's now in 1.8 bar. You must drive 10-20 kilometers away. It builds up heat. You can't see the problem outside, but you'll see the problem later on inside.
Okay, so I was told, and I'm running on cold 2.5 on tar when I'm doing trips before I get off-road. Then when I generally go onto a dirt road, not necessarily a slow one, but I will do about 1.7, 1.8 on a dirt road, just to compensate for the unevenness. Is that okay, or am I doing something wrong there?
You're not doing something wrong. You're running well, because if you look at the pressure, that's always nice to it. As I said before, the tire manufacturer will never tell you to run at 1.8, 1.5, 1.7 bars. But we know the operation that you're actually running in.
Yeah.
Because if it's got too hot, your vehicle will bounce all over it, and it starts making it dangerous for you too. So
Correct.
a lot of people, including me, will take it down to 1.8 bar, and I'll have a comfortable ride. Once I get to the place where I need to go, and if it's dunes or it's sand or it's rockery stuff, I will deflate accordingly to what I need to go into that area. So what you're doing are perfectly right. There's nothing wrong about that. But once you're off that road, get back into the normal pressures that you need to.
Yeah, the basic stuff. Yeah.
Some people say 2.5 bars is too hard. Depends again the vehicle, depends again the load what you're carrying.
Sure.
I always said the more heavy the vehicle, the more you must inflate your tires to compensate for that. And a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people that are driving fancy vehicles still want a comfortable ride. So and then they will take it down. So what you're doing 100% right. There's no problem with that. That's what you need. But as I said, don't drive this car for 2, 3, 4, 5 days, or every day. 0.8 bars not going to last.
No, I would destroy it, and I totally agree. And I thank you very much for your time and effort. We tried this yesterday, but there was a few technical glitches. So we have a glorious day today, and I want to thank you very much as from myself and that Cooper are willing to come and discuss this type of thing. I think it's really important, and people need to get out there and ask the questions, because I find a lot of people buy on price, and buying on price, it doesn't matter what you buy if you're buying it on price. And that's the biggest problem out there, is that You can buy anything the cheapest. But when it fails and it doesn't work, you're going to be the people stuck out in the middle of nowhere, no signal, and then you've got to try and fix something that you haven't really looked into because you bought the wrong tires. Andre, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time.
No, thanks for your time. I really do appreciate it.
We'll keep in touch. Bye.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.